Welcome, everybody, to the C Suite Sherpas Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Marshall, where we focus a spotlight on great resources for the C Suite. And speaking of great resources, we've got Kevin Davenport with us from The Ideal Candidate. So tell me about your business and what you do.
Yeah, so first, thank you for having me again formally. And the Ideal Candidate, we are a consulting firm helping to shape workforce talent through gamified social emotional learning solutions. So everything from in-person direct training to self-paced remote learning. We have different books that I'm sure we can dive into as well. And again, we create other simulators to again gamify the whole social emotional learning that is needed to excel and thrive in the corporate America today.
That's awesome. So let's break down some of those fancy words because some of the folks out here may not understand what gamified social and emotional means. And it sounds
Correct.
like that's something that's really lacking in the world with employees and job candidates. So what's going on and what do you do and how do you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So across the board, we are seeing a diminution in soft skills and social emotional skills for really it's a generational thing, right? So this Gen Z, we're seeing a big disconnect. And if you break it down, it really breaks down into five pillars. It's self-awareness, social awareness, responsible decision making, self-management, and relationship skills. So when you connect it to the workplace, it's like, can they handle critical decision making and connecting with their colleagues and making clients feel comfortable and all the things that's necessary to kind of excel and thrive in that field.
I've got clients that are in different parts of the business around talent acquisition and retention. And I hear stories of candidates showing up in, t-shirts and jeans, shorts, showing up with one of their parents, not showing up at all, or not refusing to turn their video on for a virtual interview. So is that the kind of stuff we're talking about, or is it even more basic? Just look people in the eyes, put a complete sentence together, be prepared, things like that. So tell us more about the way that, if you look at the results that you're getting for the work you do, tell us more about that.
That's precisely it. So our value add to employers is that they have that stamp of approval that that candidate is ready and that they're the ideal candidate for the job. And so it is a holistic approach. And really how we look at it is three-pillared. It is know yourself, grow yourself, and lead yourself and others. And so we focus on behavior modification. We focus on things like goal setting, dressing for success, how to make a good first impression. But it gets really granular as well, right? Like LinkedIn scripts and how to network and follow up with clientele appropriately, what's proper phone and email etiquette. Again, very well rounded into really getting the job, keeping the job, and can I really go to that next level and get that promotion?
Yeah, and I think we pick a lot. I pick a lot on Gen Z and whatever the next generation's called. But the reality is the kind of stuff has been going on for a long time, right? I mean, it used to be your resume wasn't written properly, you had spelling errors, things like that, or people, didn't wear a three-piece suit on an interview in 1982, things like that. So it seems like it's a lot worse, but I think we have social media and we've gone through a thing like a pandemic where people have been socially disconnected. So I don't think I'm curious. I guess I'm asking you a question. Is it because people don't care anymore, or they just don't know any better?
I think it's the latter. They don't know any better. There's a lot of conflicting advice out there. Like if you pull up
Yeah.
YouTube, you get so much different advice on resumes. You get so much different advice on how to, connect and make a good first impression. So, if you look at all that, there's got to be some bad
Right.
advice out there. And so that's what's really happening. It's either the student doesn't know that they lack soft skills, so they think that they're a better candidate than they are because, hey, I've gotten my engineering degree and I've gotten my college degree, but it's like, why am I not getting fairly treated in interviews? But it's something that they're not even seeing that's happening. Or again, they're actually taking the steps, but the information that they are getting is wrong. It's from YouTube or their uncle that, maybe they shouldn't be following and not from a subject matter expert like ourselves or, another organization that can guide them appropriately.
You mentioned you're working with universities and helping students get into the market, prepare for interviews, things of that nature. But it sounds like you're also working with corporations, large corporations that are hiring and having retention issues. So kind of delineate those two. So you talked a bit about the stuff you're doing with helping candidates prepare, but tell me about a company. Why would a company hire you? What's the benefit to them for, to have people with these skills?
So our sweet spot is definitely with entry level candidates as well. So we do a lot with their internship programs and their onboarding of entry level staff. And that's really where we're seeing the biggest disconnect in the soft skills and diminution of soft skills is that age group. And so we come in and we basically revamp their whole process. So we have other referral partners that can help even with identifying new talent. But again, our value add is making sure that when they are identifying, you do want to bring them on board, they're soft skill trained and ready from day one. So we're minimizing the learning curve. We're minimizing the time that it takes for them to train, and we're minimizing turnover, right? So retention is staying higher, and just the overall like satisfaction and the candidate feeling prepared going in is again where our value add comes in for employers directly.
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. And I know you're working with entry level candidates, but I would imagine an aging workforce, so I'll say people over 40 or maybe 50 dealing with technology and virtual interviews and that there's probably a marketplace to be able to help them as well. So you just don't work with them, or is it your focus more on the entry level, kind of the Gen Z younger crowd?
See, we are open to that. I appreciate that question. And really, I would say it really stems from where we got started. So we got started actually as a 501(c)(3), and under that nonprofit, we are hyper focused on impacting Black and Latino communities. And so from that, our relationship since 2015 has been, kind of grown from there.
That
And
makes
so
sense.
over time, we're working with sales teams and others, but still just because of that history and that foundation there, we are still getting a lot of the referrals of just again entry level and still aligned with that more Black or brown demographic. But we're definitely open to other opportunities, and we are growing. As a matter of fact, one I can just highlight quickly is restorative justice. So and veterans, that's the other one.
Yeah, yeah.
Two since 2024 outside of university and corporate space that we're really excited to kind of expand on in 2025.
I'm excited to hear that because I do work with veterans as well, teaching them leadership. They're coming out of
Yes.
a completely different culture and they're not prepared to go into civilian life, and we owe it to them. They need the
That's it.
help. So, I'm glad you're doing that. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's just talk about maybe looking at the future and what are the biggest challenges? And I want you to think about it from this perspective. If you're listening to this and you're not dealing with this, right? So I'm talking to the audience now. If you're a CEO of a company or you're a hiring manager and you're not dealing with the soft skills, what are the challenges you see coming up over the next 5 years? What bad things might happen for your company if you don't deal with this? Because not everyone's dealing with this.
Yeah. And this is going to creep in more and more. The more that time progresses, the gap will just continue to grow, and the frustration will continue to grow for employers as well. So I think the time to get ahead of that is now. If you aren't going to hire an expert like ourselves, to think about how can you implement some of that training within your onboarding or maybe within your annual training to get the team on board and make sure that, again, that customer and that user experience is up to par with the culture that you're trying to set for that company. So that's the biggest thing I would say is think about how you want to get that company culture standard to be. Who do you want to hire, and prepare for that future, because it's only going to get more of a problem into the future.
Yeah. And I asked the question knowing the answer, but I want people to understand this is something that we have to take seriously. This is, soft skills are critical in the world that we live in today. And people have lost, because of things like social media and technology, they've lost the ability to communicate. They've lost the ability to connect with people. And this is still a people world, right? AI, everyone's talking about AI. AI cannot replace human beings in terms of connection and emotion. And yet technology is making us more and more like robots and less like people. And we can spend all day talking about this. I see it all day long. I deal with it from a different perspective with my consulting practice. So you talk about gamification. Sounds like, Xbox, right? For somebody that's, may not understand. So explain why that's important, what gamification is and why that's important and what you do.
Love that question as well. We're actually turning into a tech company full time. So this is the trajectory we're going. So right now we're still implementing gamification into our daily aspects, right? So first off, one unique thing is that we're doing everything in micro bursts of specific content. because I'm ADD and dyslexic. So I understand that, boring content doesn't work. So we had that in mind when we had the curriculum, set. It was like we need it to be gamified. It needs to be fun. It needs to be engaging. And we need to just capture people right from the beginning. And gamification does all of that. People want to build up points. They want to brag to their friends that they had the edge. And so we add all those elements in there to make sure that, again, all that retention and just promoting that um, high retention and interaction with our program. And so, again, we're implementing that in person, but where it's going now, really where our value add is, we have a three-pronged process. We have a written test, and then we do two types of simulations to say, hey, before they go out, they are the ideal candidate. We have verified ourselves through the form of what they know and how they can conduct themselves. And the two new video games that we are promoting or developing right now are going to eliminate our need for in-person courses. So we're excited about that because now we can expand rapidly and it's fully gamifying the process. So now our new process will be the self-paced online learning. They'll go through again the two books. They'll get the workforce cards, as you can see here. And then once they're ready and they've gone through the training, that's when they take the written exam. And then the new video game is Workforce Jeopardy. So again, can they understand what to do in the first 90 days, understand the correct terminology and vocabulary? And then the second video game is Workplace Simulation. So we are literally difficult conversations, difficult objections at work. Can you handle it? Can you answer it appropriately? And once you've gone past that, we go ahead and sign you as the official ideal candidate. So
Awesome.
super excited about where we're headed there.
Looking forward to hearing more about that. So listen, we're going to pivot here, have a little bit of fun, and then we're going to tell people how they can get in contact with you and how they can get your books. Because I noticed you have two books that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's jump in. I call it the lightning round. It's just quick questions. First thing that comes to mind. Don't think about it. Let's have some fun. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Easy one. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
All right. Cats or dogs?
Dog.
If you can only grab one item right before the zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
My knife.
How about favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're usually right.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I love that. That's a good one. Favorite movie?
Oh my gosh. Rush Hour. It's the
Rush Hour.
combination of humor and action for me.
How about a streaming series? Any streaming series that you're watching right now?
Not really. With the growing company and the kids, I'm expecting a third child, so I'm not getting much sleep or free time right now.
Do you have a favorite book or books that you would recommend to people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my brand new one, Savage Soft Skills. This is the art of leading with strength and sensitivity. Great, great book for just overall communication and just soft skills on how to thrive in corporate America, as well as our second book, The Ideal Candidate. This is a quick guideline to self-sufficiency and living a life with attitude of gratitude. So great for mindset. It has even some financial literacy tips. And the cool thing about this book too, has a 30-day gratitude journal. So
Awesome.
really interactive book. And
can you get it on Amazon or how do you get that?
Absolutely. So of course you can get it on my website, theidealcandidate.org. If you like a signed copy, that's the way to get it that way. If not, Amazon, it'll be shipped right to you.
Well,
we appreciate it.
Last question, biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome in your life, and what's the one big lesson you learned from it?
Yeah. I would have to say my learning disability, ADD and dyslexia. To be completely honest, I didn't even see myself going to college. Soccer was really my route to, seeing myself as like, maybe I can be a student athlete, not just an athlete. So yeah, that was the biggest hurdle. If I can give advice to anyone out there that's dealing with this, I chipped away at it. I was like, I'm tired of running from it. I want to see how I would respond, how my life would be if I actually applied myself and stopped letting it be an excuse. And so I decided in college, in my freshman year, actually, I was like, I'm going to read for 15 minutes a day, Monday through Friday. And I don't care how I'm feeling. I don't care, bad day, good day. I'm just going to knock it out and just see how I feel. And it was a little difficult in the beginning, but by semester 2, I was flying through books. And by the second year, I literally, like to this point, I literally can't even tell my learning disability a lot of times. Sometimes when I'm spelling, I can't. But when I'm reading and other things where it would be like such a big problem, it's not anymore. So again, if I can speak life into anyone dealing with that, try to address those problems head on. practice it. It's like a muscle. The more you kind of flex that up, the easier it'll get.
So we're out of time. I've got your website. We'll post that on the channel. Is there another way that you want people to reach out to you? Email, LinkedIn, anything like that that you prefer?
I think website is great. Otherwise, LinkedIn, Kevin
Okay.
Davenport.
So awesome, Kevin. I could probably talk to you for another 2 hours about what you're doing. Um, Full disclosure, Kevin's also from Chicago. I'm an ex-Chicago guy. Why we didn't know each other before this. There's a special Chicago connection. So I love that. The Midwestern values and work ethic really shows through in what you're doing. So appreciate you being on the podcast, and we wish you the best of success. And again, if you're hiring people and you're growing your business, you need to talk to somebody like Kevin. So Kevin, thank you.
Thank you, Brian, and the referral machine. Thank you. Thank you.